Hi, welcome to Indicator 3B support, which is alternate assessment participation. If you are viewing this indicator, likely you have a finding on the latest special ed profile. And we are going to talk through what that process will look like and how myself, Helen Brophy, is here to support and SSTA to support you through this process. Once again, it's Helen Brophy. There's my email, helenb@SSTA. I'm the lead point of contact for alternate assessment. And to follow along, you can use you can access the slides for the presentation by following the bit.ly link below. Okay, indicator specific meeting agenda. Okay, there's going to be an indicator overview and then a brief review of the self-summary report, which we will refer to as SRSR, considerations for district team membership, and scheduling SRSR, the review process, and talk about some of the common challenges that you may face with finding the root cause for this indicator. General information on all special education indicators. You can view the slides for the overview presentation by following the link below. It's a live link that will take you to that information. Okay, the 21-22 indicator review process manual. The indicator review manual for alternate assessment is linked in your special education profile. There are specific required actions that are outlined by the indicator in the manual and in your profile. Required actions follow similar steps regardless of the indicator. So you would have probably watched an overview this morning of indicators in general. They all pretty much follow the same process. And the link below, alternate assessment indicator manual, if you click on that, that'll take you to the section on indicator 3B, alternate assessment. Okay, we're going to take an overview of this indicator. Okay, most of you know states are required to ensure the number of students that are assessed using the alternate assessment for students with significant cognitive disabilities in each subject does not exceed the 1% of all students who take the state assessments. Now that is set federally, and Ohio has been over this 1% for quite a few years, and they must ask for a waiver every year. So far, they have been able to get the waiver. Part of the problem, though, Ohio was one of the highest percentages over the 1%. I will let you know that has significantly dropped this past year, but we still are over the 1%. So that is why when you have why this indicator came about. And if you have a finding, it's usually, you're usually selected dependent on your alternate assessment participation rate. Usually it's if you're 2.5 and above. There have been other circumstances that will cause you to have an indicator finding. A 3-year upward trend where you may be not at 2%, but each year you're going up instead of going down. Or you have one significant increase in students participating in alternate assessment. Those are all ways that you could get flagged for indicator 3B. The self-summary report, the self-review summary report. Now we're going to talk about that, like I referred to it before, as the SRSR. I want you to be ready to consider that State Support Team 8 is required to participate in the self-review summary report. And our participation will probably assist you in going through this, finding the root cause. First of all, you want to look for any data reporting errors. Are there students that you reported taking alternate assessment or numbers that you reported in your data that were wrong? And that has happened in some districts. And when we're looking through all this information, we see that, oh my gosh, this was reported. The report was wrong. I didn't have this many students doing, in these different categories. Then the team will need to look for the root cause analysis for high participation rates when completing the self-review summary. So what is the root cause for why your district has so many students on alternate assessment? And I know that can become confusing because many districts will say, I have that many students that need to be on alternate assessment. But we will drill down and look at different aspects to find out what may need to change that will reduce that rate. Then you will create an improvement plan. The improvement plan will talk about how everybody will look at students on alternate assessment, use the decision-making tool, look at training for staff and administrators, so we know exactly who should or should not be on alternate assessment. And then you'll have signed documentation of improvement plan activities, and then you will submit documentation of related policies and procedures and practices that you have put into place. And we will definitely go into this in more depth when we meet as a team. Okay, the deadline for turning in your self-review summary report and your improvement plan is due April 1st, 2022. So, like we have some time, but we don't want this to get away from us. We need to get started as soon as we can and start going through the process because it may take more than one meeting. Now, September 30th of 2022, you will submit verification of training and a completion of the improvement plan activities. That is the due date. So you will be writing your SRSR and your improvement plan and have that submitted. Your training and verification will not happen until September 30th, or at least what you have done to what is said that you will be doing in your improvement plan. So those are two different dates we do need to keep in mind so they don't get away from us. Considerations for team membership. So like I said, this is a team process. So we're going to talk about people that you would want to include on your team. Okay, suggested team members for indicator 3, alternate assessment participation, would be possibly some general education partners, definitely special education teachers, school psychologists, and building principals, because many of the decisions for alternate assessment, even though we know it's an IEP team decision, many of these people are involved with that IEP, and they need to be aware of all the different aspects and any kind of improvement plan that you may be going forward with. Also, central office leadership. It's definitely the student service director, and state support team Region 8 is mandatory. So we would all be getting together for these meetings and going through an analysis of root causes and data verification, and then an improvement plan. Okay, for scheduling your SRSR, I have put up some dates that I will be available, or I'm keeping blocked on my calendar. I have January 28th, 2022, February 2nd of 2022, February 8th of 2022, February 17th of 2022. Now they are currently being held on my calendar that I'm available from 8 to 4. I know, especially during this time, that some of these dates may not work for you or work for gathering a team. We may have a meeting between myself and the director just to discuss, and that could be a phone conference, and then look for a date that we can get all the people needed for the team to plan. And I will definitely work with you and work with your calendar to make this happen. Okay, some common challenges or missteps, some things that I've been doing alternate assessment indicator last year and the previous year. So these are some challenges we've had or missteps. Meeting deadlines. We want to meet the deadlines, get things, get our items uploaded into the monitors by those deadlines or before. Ensuring all documentation of all improvement plan activities have been completed. That will be evidence of trainings, meetings, and activities. And then this gets a little confusing for people because there's two places to be signed. One will be signed by the director of pupil services or special education director, but some people forget that the superintendent or the sponsor have to sign too. So that has caused a few missteps in the past. And what I mean is the same person, which is usually the special education director or the pupil personnel services, signs the implementation, because you are overseeing that what was written in the self-review summary and the improvement plan is happening. But you cannot be the same person that oversees the implementation. Let me just back up and say that again. You're overseeing with your staff that this is being implemented, but the district lead, which would be your superintendent or sponsor in a community school, must be the person that signs the other area, because you cannot sign both areas. So once again, pupil service director signed for implementation. The superintendent signs for the overall process. Okay, questions and answers. We will have a live Q&A that will be on January 12th from 3 to 3:30 at the following Zoom virtual meeting. Here, there's a Zoom link and the passcode. And if you're unable to make it or have more questions later on, please feel free to contact me at helenb@sst8.org. And once again, these sessions are live, are recorded, so you will be able to go back and look at what we have just presented here. And please reach out to me at any time if you have other questions, and even after the Q&A. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and support is our middle name, and we are here to help you with your SRSR and your improvement plan. So thank you.